Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the KBW podcast. I am one of the four members on the board right now. I am the assassin, a.k.a. and I am who I am, and I am different from everybody else. We are here. It's another stacked KBW podcast. Boys, introduce yourselves.
What's up, guys? It's Dozer here. I want to say before my other co-host introduces himself, I apologize about this view. I know it's a little different than usual. I do not have my TikTok stand, so I'll try to get that for next pod. Anyway.
Hey, don't apologize for the view. For this another big time edition of the KBW podcast. We're back. We're live in living color. And damn it, it's good to be back. Let's go, boys.
Absolutely, and I am the best at what I do, Mr. Better Than You, KAGE, also known as Pro Wrestler Fuego Del Sol. When it is up, Royal Rumble 3 is up for all of your viewing pleasure.
Oh, shit.
If you are a member at the highest tier, you can watch the Royal Rumble 3. And speaking of members and being a difference maker, if you're one of the executive producers, you get a shout out at the beginning of every KBW podcast. So I'm talking about you, Ash Crimson, Birdo32, Leviathan King, DJ Murder, NYEROH, Jax Allen, Man Ray, Lamar Madison, Prince, MT3, the one-eyed God, and last but not least, the man sitting to Bulldozer's left. Big time Mike.
Greatest sports
Appreciate all the
entertainer
love, baby.
to ever enter an arena. Big time Mike.
He's the man with a beard, bringing that big time fear and bringing you that big time good stuff this week on the KBW podcast. We had a couple weeks without him, but goddamn, doesn't it feel good to have him back?
Like
and this
Novocaine,
week,
baby, give it a little time. It always works.
hell yeah, baby. Hell yeah, it hurts like a son of a bitch too. If it hits you in the right
There it
spot. God damn. But here we go. This week is the What If episode. We've been teasing it for months. We've been promising it. It's time to be like Big Time Mike and always deliver on what we promised. So, what we have... Hold on. Hi, I see the puppy. I'm
Have a
going to
run
film
in.
me something, okay?
Yep.
Run in indeed. Shut that door. Shut that door,
be you
please.
soon,
Thank you.
AK.
It's a birthday girl. It's a
Happy
birthday girl,
birthday.
so she gets a pass.
Birthday. Growing up so fast. Yeah, only disappointing thing about Fuego having kids is like his kids didn't get born with a mask on. That's the only thing.
That's fine.
Oh no, I'm gonna edit in a mask the whole time.
He doesn't.
The life of a father, folks.
The life of a father, indeed. What if? So what we're gonna do here is, everybody knows that we were fully active in the year 2013, all the way up until the beginning of 2014, and then we slowed down. We had that incredible bloodthirsty pay-per-view where I went one-on-one with AK in a leather strap match. The Bulldozer went one-on-one with Paul Wall. And we had Pac-Man capture the Money in the Bank and Money in the Bank 3. So, we know that on the books, the next pay-per-view would have been main evented in a fatal four-way between Bulldozer, KAGE, Paul Wall, and the World Heavyweight Champion, AK-40. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I was the World Heavyweight Champion because I won the rematch. I was the World Heavyweight Champion, KAGE. And then so in a fatal four-way. So we're going to name that pay-per-view Fatal Four-Way. And we're going to produce the next 5 pay-per-views and tell you what we would have done for the whole year of 2014. Now, we're not going week to week, but there will be some if we need to cheat the booking a little bit and get to where we need to be and pop in a shortcut. We're going to tell you the main storylines we would have booked for the next year. So those 5 pay-per-views would have been the first Fatal 4-Way pay-per-view. Then we would have made Royal Rumble its own pay-per-view. Maybe it's not like this on everybody's list, but on my list it is. Royal Rumble's pay-per-view. Then we have Renegade Revolution, which we most likely would have renamed into something else. The KBW Revolution, Rise of the Revolution, something of that nature, right? Then you move on to All or Nothing. And then finally, the final pay-per-view of the year, our WrestleMania, Blood, Sweat, and Tears. And I think we will go by one and tell you what we would have planned as in individuals, and then we will go through and vote on what we like the best and what we would have kept and not kept in, and and maybe book it all together. Sounds like fun, boys.
Sounds good.
I'm ready. Let's go.
I know I was talking to you big time. Did you do the same? I know you talked about doing it after the finale originally.
Yeah, so originally, and I had two. So originally I had one after the finale, but I also added a pay-per-view in there. So mine's going to have an extra pay-per-view. And really the last pay-per-view is to set up the WrestleMania, the Blood, Sweat, and Tears match. Really is to put all
Okay, so do you want to go first and talk about what you would have done after the finale and put it all for the year?
Yeah, let's do that. I mean, but I've also got one that's pre-finale too, so it's up to you what you want to do.
Is that the one you wrote out?
Both of that. This is pre-finale, and I have another that's post-finale.
Yeah, post-finale.
Yeah. So basically, mine books all the way to the finale, and then I book after the finale.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Okay. Because I wouldn't have booked the next year as a finale. I would have just kept booking it like we were just going to keep on.
Could you fit this after the one you booked after?
No, because so basically, here's kind of the overarching thing, and I'll jump into it. Okay, the finale. I have the finale ending the way it ended. The finish is the same. The only difference is Pac-Man's not in the match. Dozer's in the match. Okay, and then after the finale ends,
changed it up.
After the finale ends, I put the kind of the theme of KBW season 5 is the rise of Pac-Man, and so basically all of season 5 is Pac-Man chasing the world championship with the heel Big Time Mike, because that's putting in. And basically, when he defeats me for the world championship, which would have been at Renegade Revolution, this leads up into my actual retirement from Backyard Wrestling in 2017. Which is how I had it timed
That
up.
Makes sense.
So I put it on the timeline. But to go from pre-finale, so 2013, right, I have, for the Fatal 4-Way, I've got Cage, Dozer, a.k.a. and Paul Wall. Fatal 4-Way, I have Paul Wall winning the World Championship. He's the big baby face. To me, at that point, he was probably on his meteoric rise. The people wanted him. They loved him. So that was kind of the big win at Fatal 4-Way. I have Cage being injured and being off TV for a while. AK is the one that takes the pin, so there's still heat there. Dozer is distraught. Now he's got to start over. He's got to climb and scratch from underneath. In the second match for kind of our closing of myself and Pitbull and Great Dane storyline, because if you watch season 4, the entirety of season 4 was me and the enforcement going back and forth. I have myself versus Pitbull and Dane in a handicap first blood match. Right, I defeat Pitbull and Great Dane. I actually injure Dane and take him out, so he's out for a few weeks. Then that kind of builds in myself and Pitbull. So I defeat Pitbull. I have Hazard as a Native American champion. He was supposed to face Great Dane, but he's injured, so there was no Native American championship defended. I have D-Man and Maxzilla paying off D-Man, breaking up his and Maxzilla's team. So he's got a lot of heat. He takes the Hardcore Championship. Then we have the Renegades versus T-Rex, or excuse me, Pac-Man and the Bama Kid. I have the Renegades winning the tag team championships for 4-Way.
Beautiful. That's beautiful. So coming out of your first pay-per-view, we got new World Heavyweight Champion Paul Wall.
Yep.
We have Renegades regaining their tag titles.
Yep.
We have... How did you get the belt onto D-Man for the Hardcore title if Bama Kid was the champion?
So it would. So the way out, and this is week to week. So after Bloodthirsty, I had Bama Kid dropping, and I don't know how I got there, but I had Bama Kid dropping
it to Maxzilla or to D-Man?
I haven't dropped it to D-Man because D-Man's got more heat as a heel. Maxzilla really wasn't as a face. Maxzilla was to me more of an auxiliary, and that's not a knock on Maxzilla, just a character.
No, that's just true.
Yeah. I had D-Man getting the Hardcore Championship from Bama Kid, and so then we have D-Man and Maxzilla paying off their rivalry at 4-Way, and then Bama Kid's just not on the pay-per-view except for the tag match.
Okay, sounds good. Well, then it moves on to the next month. What do you got going on?
Yeah, so next month? I have the Rumble. I've got so since Paul actually pinned AK and you're injured, AK, Mr. O makes that AK now has the rematch clause because he was pinned. He's got more of a take on it than Dozer because he was the one actually pinned. So I have Paul Wall versus AK for the world title. I have Paul Wall beating AK. I've got I win a number one contenders match after when I beat Pitbull at the last pay-per-view. Mr. O named me the number one contender for the Native American Championship. I defeat Hazard for the Native American Championship. Big win, make him tap out to the ankle lock. And I quote unquote break his ankle, start building up the heat on the ankle lock, try to make it a big time finish. I've got D-Man defending the hardcore title against Pitbull and T-Rex. Pitbull's about to win with the dog bite. I run in, hit him with the low blow. D-Man goes and wins, so we still have a little bit of tension between myself and Pitbull. That rivalry's not finished. D-Man wins the hardcore title. The tag titles are not defended. I have Dozer winning the Royal Rumble, throwing Bama Kid out last to win. What would this be? What Rumble would that be for you? Be your third Royal Rumble.
3.
So I have Dozer winning his third Royal Rumble,
Dang.
throwing Bama Kid out last.
Royal Rumble King, baby.
Wow. I don't like that booking, but we'll keep on.
All right, so then I have Renegade Revolutions, the next pay-per-view. I've got Paul Wall defending against his number one contender. After the Royal Rumble, we had I would imagine if I was really booking it, probably like a 5-episode gap between that and Renegade Revolution. We had a number one contenders tournament. Bama Kid wins the number one contenders tournament. He defeats Pac-Man
Really?
in the finals.
You wouldn't have done Bulldozer winning the Royal Rumble to get the shot for the belt?
No, I want him to hold it. And I want that to be to the end. I don't want to spoil that.
That makes sense.
So we have a number one contenders tournament. The final is Pac-Man and Bama
Kid wins it.
Bama Kid wins it. Right? Pac-Man's happy for his buddy, but he's pissed off about it because it was his moment. Right? At the pay-per-view Renegade Revolution, Paul Wall and Bama Kid for the world title. Bama Kid wins the world title. Music hits. Pac-Man cashes in Money in the Bank. Turns on his partner. Now Bama Kid's partnerless and titleless, and now we've got all this heat building up towards Pac-Man, who everybody loves, but did he do it in the right way? Even though after the match that he beats Paul Wall beats him down. Bama Kid barely wins by the skin of his teeth. Pac-Man comes in, cashes in Money in the Bank, and so now everybody really doesn't know how to feel.
And
now
pins Bama Kid.
Against Bama Kid, his partner, he's been loyal to forever, who Bama Kid beat him in the number one
turned heel.
Yep, turn him heel. And so then I have, to pay off mine and Pitbull's feud, I have a last man standing match against Pitbull for the Native American Championship. Beat him at Renegade Revolution. That kind of ends our feud. I have D-Man. Bama Kid was supposed to wrestle, right? And I screwed that up, so D-Man's not wrestling. I screwed that one up for the hardcore title. I have Pitbull and Dane versus the Renegades for the tag title. This is Dane's return. Right, Pitbull and Dane win the tag titles from the Renegades, so the Renegades are kind of spinning. AK's not on this show, so we don't know where the Renegades are. As we leave this show and head to All or Nothing, AK and the Renegades make a big splash. They start jumping people in the back. They start screwing up finishes, so now Mr. O has to kind of keep control, so now he makes a phone call, and the phone call will be, you guessed it, the guy wearing the mask. He asks for help. Who's going to help gain control of KBW? It's going to be KAGE. So at All or Nothing, right, we got Big Time as a heel, Demon as a heel, T-Rex, Mick the Brick, and AK versus the Enforcers, what's left of them, the Bulldozer, because he's got to call for help from somebody, Paul Wall, and then KAGE returns to make it even, and Team KBW beats the quote-unquote Renegades, yep, for the All or, and that's really it on the All or Nothing show. It's just the big 5v5 match.
Cool.
Nice.
Oh,
And
you
then
said
Blood, Sweat, and
5v5.
Tears.
Who's the 5 on the Renegades?
Me, D-Man, Mickey, Trey, AK.
Oh, that's right.
Yep. And I added the pay-per-view. So I added the pay-per-view in there. I called it Hardcore Highway. It's kind of the gap between Blood, Sweat, and Tears and everything else.
And All or Nothing.
Hardcore Highway, I like it.
Yeah.
So I called it Hardcore Highway. So with KAGE coming back, KAGE actually pins Big Time Mike for the win. So KAGE and I have a feud going back to the very beginning when I called him out. So I have KAGE in a first blood match. KAGE beats me in the first blood match, but I say it's a fluke. After the match, I bloody him. I beat him to a pulp. So that we have a lot of heat there. I have AK versus Paul Wall for the world title. I have AK winning the world title from Paul Wall at Hardcore Highway. And then at Blood, Sweat, and Tears, I set up that Dozer's now cashing in his Royal Rumble win. He wants to face the world champion. AK's the world champion. KAGE feels like he's owed it because he's brought KBW back from ruin. Because when KAGE is gone, people are kind of running rampant. The Renegades take over after All or Nothing or during this time with All or Nothing. So now we got to have somebody bring control. KAGE brings control back to KBW big time. And what I did with the Native American is I used the Native American title, and somewhere in there I had the hardcore title out. Somewhere along there we kind of combined them. I cashed in the hardcore title for a shot at the world title, which is where I got the 4-way at Blood, Sweat, and Tears with Dozer, a.k.a. Big Time, and KAGE.
Hell yeah.
And then I had the finish the same leading into Pac-Man pushing him for the next year.
Yeah. Okay, I like that. So we get to the finale. So you're using this year to get to what we filmed at the finale, except replacing Pac. I get that. I can absolutely understand that. So at the end of Blood, Sweat, and Tears, go ahead and run your Blood, Sweat, and Tears and tell me who your champions are at the end of it all.
So the end of Blood, Sweat, and Tears, we got the same. We got Big Time as the world champion. I've got Pitbull and Dane. They still stay the tag champions. We don't have a Native American or hardcore. So right now we just have a world and we have a tag champion. Because we've combined the Native and hardcore to make it as a shot for the world title. And I haven't put any auxiliary matches in there. But our champion, as we leave, is Big Time for the world title, which is basically undisputed. Then we have the tag champs. And the next season is building up where we got to have a new undercard guy. So we have the Native American title, but we call it the KBW Championship. And now we build up an actual worker to go against maybe a bigger character. So we got a character title versus a worker title.
Cool. I like this. Mm-hmm. It's different. It's different from an outside view of Big Time Mike, you know, how he continues to book this. I do like the first blood between me and you. I don't know. I feel like AK doesn't play a super prominent role, though, past the loss. You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing I'm like, ooh, would he have liked that? Would he have not liked it at the time?
Well, the thing is I think about booking it week to week, too. I didn't book it week to week, so things will change week to week, right? So, like, the period between All or Nothing and Blood, Sweat, and Tears is like basically AK like wrecking shit. He's Big Time heel, and then Big Time's kind of riding his coattails. Is like, hey, how can I get on this guy's train? How can I learn from this guy? And then we have the butting of heads. When he beats Paul for the hardcore title or the world title, and then whatever I beat KAGE. Well, then now I say, well, look, I beat KAGE. I made KAGE bleed. You never made KAGE bleed. So now it's my turn. I've earned this shot. Let me show you what I can do.
Hell yeah. Should I go next or should I let AK go next?
Or we could still.
Who wants to go next?
I mean, me and Dozer haven't really commented on what Big Time.
Talk to me what y'all think.
I like it. I like the part where, like you said, I do like. I know kids. I don't know how I feel about it. But I do like the fact that I'm like kind of on the shelf and kind of like in the background, wreaking havoc and like trying to find my way after the big match and like where does AK go from here. I don't know. Like when you say I beat Paul Wall for the world title, like what made you want to go that route? Like why would I beat Paul Wall in that spot?
The biggest thing is like
at the end.
And we would have. So the thing is, we'd have to, because again, Pac-Man cashes in, Bama Kid beats Paul Wall, Pac-Man cashes in on Bama Kid. So between Renegade Revolution and basically because All or Nothing is basically your pay-per-view. It's where you come in and take. Right, I would say take back over. That realistically would be like a month of shows, of week-to-week shows, where you would have to, because the whole story of All or Nothing is that. Well, the Renegades have finally taken back over. Mr. O's got a call on KAGE, the OG, and Bulldozer, the OG, and Paul Wall, who's kind of grandfathered in as one the fans love, and the Enforcers are part of Mr. O's group. He's got a call on them to regain control. Right. And then after he regains control, then if Paul Wall's really your top babyface to me right now, Paul Wall's like your top babyface, you're the top heel because I'm still an undercard guy, the men's undercard. Renegades are tag guys. Now you put your best heel against your best babyface, which is why I had you and Paul at Hardcore Highway. So somewhere between there'd have to be number one contendership and things like that.
Right, yeah. Okay, I got you. I guess in my view, I just don't see you as an undercard guy, so in my things.
Well, that's why I'm thinking like this is 2014. This is after Bloodthirsty, so the biggest match I've been in is the 4-way tag match with Bama Kid.
So what do you think are your major story? Like, if you had to put like taglines of like for the next year, these are the main 3 or 4 things I'm focused on, like the rise of Big Time Mike or the rise of, or like what would you give me
the main 4 is like, to me, with Big Time Mike, you got to pay off the Pitbull, the enforcement storyline.
Yes.
You have to pay it off, which I think we did. We had enough, blood feud stuff between there where I take Dane out and he takes me out and we have a last man standing.
Yeah, that last man standing match. I want that to happen. I want to see that.
Yeah, I would love to.
I would do it now for no money if he wanted to do it. Just to film it. You got to pay that off. You have to show that Paul Wall is the guy, and I think with him winning the 4-way, beating AK, and then basically losing to me, like, Paul Wall is like what I would consider like a power wrestler. Bama Kid's a better natural wrestler, so Bama Kid naturally beats him. But it's not that Paul Wall's not a good wrestler. He just gets bested that night. Bama Kid's so hot, he wins the number 1 contenders tournament from a month before. He's the last guy eliminated in the Rumble. Everybody wants Bama Kid to win. He's got all the momentum. Bama Kid wins, and then Pac-Man kind of cashes in and steals the spotlight. So to me, like it with Paul Wall being kind of the top babyface at Renegade Revolution, with your second or third best babyface with Bama Kid, it puts people like on this crescendo, and then you have Pac-Man, who everyone loves, but now he's not doing anything wrong that anybody else would do, but because he cashes in on his partner who beat him for the number 1 contenders tournament a month ago, now everybody's like, man, what a piece of shit he turned on his friend.
Okay.
So you got to galvanize Paul Wall there, and I think as it goes on, the more I look at this, after Pac-Man cashes in and loses the title, I kind of screw him, because after he loses the title, he really doesn't have anything. So I guess that's a negative.
I think that's the only thing. That's the only thing I feel like is like lacking. Is like you have him finally cash in, and then he kind of just disappears. If that makes sense.
It kind of screws it up.
However, you did say that you were going to rebuild him up post finale. So I'm not hating on it as. And again, this is kind of this is hard to follow because I'm trying to keep all the connecting points in my head. You know what I'm saying? So we need to try to explain this the best possible ways we can. That's why I was like, give me the taglines too. Yeah. So like that way we know.
And I would say probably out of all of this, before we start the podcast, Big Time probably the most in depth because he did like the week to week stuff.
Thought this out.
Yeah, the week to week stuff. He added another pay-per-view, so his is more like a lot more going on probably than ours is. So it makes sense why it might be a little hard to follow, but I like it. I mean, for the most part I like most of it. Yeah.
I think I should go next just because I want to get mine out of the way. Okay. And like I want y'all to tell me what y'all think of these. Okay, so here comes the big fatal 4-way pay-per-view. We know the main event. Paul Wall, KAGE, a.k.a. Bulldozer. That is our main event. However, I also wanted to pay off some of this Pitbull and Big Time stuff, but this is not the pay-per-view I want to do it on. Pitbull is going to face Bama Kid for the hardcore title on this pay-per-view, right? He has to wrestle. Bama Kid has to wrestle twice on this pay-per-view. He's got to defend. And for the Native American title, I have Hazard versus the Beast because it's a rematch from Blood, Sweat, and Tears. You know what I'm saying? However, it's Hazard versus the Beast versus Big Time versus Great Dane in a fatal 4-way. So you have history between Hazard and the Beast, and you have history between Big Time and Great Dane. However, Great Dane pretty much cost Big Time, and Hazard retains the title in that. Pitbull beats Bama Kid for the belt, and the Renegades get their tag titles back. Mick the Brick and T-Rex win the belt. So Bama Kid loses both titles at Fatal 4-Way. Devastated. Crushed. Hurt. You know what I'm saying?
Fans will be mad at that.
Yes, right?
Oh my
Big
God,
Time. Big Time. Big Time is pissed off because Great Dane cost him, and now Pitbull is the champ. And then we have Bulldozer. In this we get Paul Wall goes bananas, takes down everybody in this match. AK and KAGE have to look at each other and work together. Oh my God. Tornado DDT and headshot at the same time. The classic move to takes Paul down. KAGE jumps on the cover on Paul Wall, but just like at Blood, Sweat, and Tears, AK hits a headshot off of it. He thinks he's going to steal the cover, but here comes Bulldozer. Bulldozer on top of all 4 guys. Bang! Cover. 1, 2, 3. New World Heavyweight Champion, the Bulldozer. KAGE is distraught. KAGE just got the title back a month ago, and here it is, ripped from his hands again. My goodness. Which leads to my next pay-per-view, right? Oh wow, I wouldn't have had Royal Rumble. I did add another pay-per-view in here too. Wow, I definitely didn't think my bad. Okay, so I added another pay-per-view. We're gonna call it Hardcore Highway. So after Fatal 4-Way, Fatal 4-Way,
Cannon.
After Fatal 4-Way, we got Hardcore Highway. Okay, because I felt like once Dozer won, it sets up an execution match: KAGE versus Bulldozer. But I say you got lucky. You got lucky, Bulldozer, when you beat us. It was a Fatal 4-Way. You can't beat me one-on-one. I get my rematch clause, and I'm going to do something I know I would never do, and I've already witnessed you do. KAGE versus the Bulldozer I Quit match. Right? One-on-one. Right? Also, to pay off Big Time versus Pitbull for the Hardcore Championship in a stipulation match. To take a page out of Big Time's book, why not make it a last man standing, you know? I had a stipulation. And I have a number 1 contenders match between Paul Wall versus a.k.a. They were in the 4-way. We haven't had them wrestle yet in this new season. Here it is. For the Native American Championship, Hazard is going to defend against Jacob Storm and D-Man.
Oh, wow.
And
I forgot about Jacob Storm.
I don't even have Jacob Storm listed.
I do. He was there, right? And then, because Renegades got their belt back last pay-per-view, and Pac-Man says, hey, we can beat this team, Bama Kid. We can beat this team. Us versus the Renegades, 2 out of 3 falls match.
Okay.
2 out of 3 falls match versus the Renegades. However, the Renegades come out on top. D-Man gets the Native American title back and beats Hazard and Jacob Storm. Big Time beats Pitbull and wins the Hardcore Championship. AK cheats and beats Paul Wall to win the number 1 contendership. Dozer and KAGE going at it, having a classic in the main event. Big dive happens onto him, right? Jacob Storm runs out to try to help KAGE. Bulldozer knocks down both of them, ties KAGE up, puts a chair in the neck of Jacob Storm, goes to stomp the neck of Jacob Storm, and KAGE says, I quit. Don't do it.
Wow.
Don't do it. I quit for Jacob Storm and execution. I quit. Bulldozer retains the title. He says, I love it.
Quitting for Jacob
I feel
Storm.
like he got that from the old Big Time I Quit match. Except he's not choking the girl.
Yes.
Quitting for Jacob Storm, it couldn't be me.
It couldn't be me. My boy said it couldn't be me. All right, so now we got leading up to the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. Bulldozer, feeling dominant after I Quit, says, I'll defend against anybody. Jacob Storm wants to come out and try to get the revenge for the match. Bulldozer runs through Jacob Storm. The Beast comes out one week and says, me and you've never had a one-on-one. Let's figure out who the real biggest and baddest man is in KBW. Bulldozer puts down the Beast. Here we go. It's time for the pay-per-view. Right? We got Bulldozer versus AK as at the Royal Rumble, and then we got the Royal Rumble. In the Royal Rumble, KAGE vows to enter at number 1 and win the whole damn thing. Right? However, what he did not anticipate is that Paul Wall would be number 2. And Paul Wall eliminates KAGE first
Damn.
in the Royal Rumble. That's gonna just just save that for later on. Just remember that, keep that in your head, that Paul Wall eliminates KAGE first. Shocked, mad, right? It comes down. The Royal Rumble comes down to the top four. Mick the Brick, Big Time Mike, Paul Wall, and the Bama Kid. Paul Wall eliminates Mick the Brick. Big Time Mike eliminates Paul Wall. It leaves Bama Kid versus Big Time Mike.
Okay.
Going at it. Locks in the BTA. What does Paul Wall do? He pulls Bama Kid to the ropes to get leverage. Bama Kid flips and rolls, sends Big Time Mike over the top rope, lands on Paul Wall. Here we go. Bama Kid is the no Royal Rumble winner.
I like it. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Bama Kid. In the main event, though, Dozer versus a.k.a. a.k.a. is pissed off. He's pissed off at the Renegades. He's pissed off at everybody because he's not champion. It's been months now since Bloodthirsty that he's not champion. He cuts his promo and he says, I deserve to be champion and you guys need to do your job and step up. Mick the Brick stands up, gets in his face and says, listen here, me and T-Rex, we did our job. We got our belts back. How about you do your damn job and be a leader of the Renegades and do something, right? In the match, things are going haywire. The Renegades attack. They're jumping the Bulldozer. a.k.a. calls for the brass knucks. Mick the Brick tosses him to him. a.k.a. misses him, lands in Bulldozer's hands. Bam! 1, 2, 3. Bulldozer retains. That creates more tension.
It's a monster run.
That's a great roast.
That creates
monster
more
run.
tension, bro. Mick the Brick says you missed the Knucks. AK says you overthrew the Knucks. Mick the Brick says you missed the Knucks. AK says you overthrew the Knucks. Okay, right. At some point, Paul Wall and Bama Kid, Paul Wall and Big Time Mike last those Royal Rumble. There's a little feud there going on from the Royal Rumble, and at TV, Big Time Mike feeling himself calls, hey, it's a hardcore championship, 24/7. Anybody wants to come out, come out. Maxilla accepts the challenge, and Paul Wall costs Big Time Mike the hardcore championship.
Lost to a midget. I'll be damned.
And so that, because the next pay-per-view coming up is Renegade Revolution. And so that sets up Paul Wall versus Big Time Mike, #1 contender for the World Heavyweight Championship. All right, that's what we got going on at Renegade Revolution. Also at Renegade Revolution, the Bama Kid who won the Royal Rumble, sees his biggest test ever. It's time for Dozer versus Bama Kid, #3 for the World Heavyweight Championship.
Go rivalry, back at it.
Pac-Man says, speaking of #3s, AK, why don't you meet me in the ring? Pac-Man is a little upset at Bama Kid. Bama Kid, I wanted us to go after the tag belts. But you know what? You want to fight a main eventer? I'll fight a main eventer. Let me challenge AK. You challenge Bulldozer. So that's a match at Renegade Revolution. We got Maxilla defending that newly won title versus the Beast. We got D-Man defending his title against Hazard as a rematch clause, the Native American title. We got the Renegades going to challenge Great Dane and Pitbull for the tag titles. However, there's one more team in this equation. KAGE being distraught that he said, I quit. Jacob Storm says, listen, man, you did something for me that I never thought you would. So let me do something for you that you probably never thought I would. Let me help you win the tag titles for the first time in KBW. So KAGE is going to take a back seat from the main event scene and join up with Execution. So it's going to be the Renegades versus Dane and Pitbull versus Jacob Storm and Cage. Crazy Revolution pay-per-view is what I'm calling it, right? Maxilla loses the hardcore title to the Beast. D-Man beats Hazard for the Native American Championship. AK gets rolled up by Pac-Man once again and loses. He's on a losing streak now. And this time, AK said, Renegades, you stay back. I don't need you. I don't need your help. Mick the Brick tries to come out and help him. There's a distraction. There's the roll up. So now he's even more pissed off.
Mick the Brick about to get his
Even
ass
more
whooped.
pissed off. Brother. Great Dane and Pitbull win the three-way tag match. Great Dane and Pitbull are now the new KBW Tag Team Champions. Big Time Mike locks in that BTA and makes Paul Wall tap out. And he is the new #1 contender. Dozer versus Bama Kid. Here we go. Fighting. Just as good as #1, just as good as #2. We call back finishes. Sliced bread to the table. This time, Bulldozer kicks out. Package pile driver. First man to ever kick out of the package pile driver, Bama Kid. You know what I'm saying? They're going at it, having a classic. Bama Kid tries something crazy. Up to the top of the ladder, does a shooter to the floor, misses. Goes to the table. Dozer has just enough energy to turn over and cover Bama Kid. 1, 2, 3. Crazy match. They're both laying there.
Where was this?
They're both
boy?
Listen. They're both laying there, tired, beat up. Pac-Man runs out to check on Bama Kid. Are you okay? Looks at Bama Kid. Looks at Bulldozer. Looks at Bama Kid. Looks at Bulldozer. Cashes in the money in the bank. 1, 2, 3.
Damn.
Wins the title from the Bulldozer as Bama Kid is getting up. Bama Kid, all he wanted was to win the world title. And now he's got to look at his friend be the new champion. His tag partner is now the champion when he wanted the belt. Pissed the fuck off is Bama Kid.
Damn, why did we do this?
Here we go. Going into All or Nothing. Somehow, even though AK's on a losing streak, he says, this is what we're going to do, boys. This is what we're going to do. Mick the Brick and T-Rex. Oh, that's what I meant to say. AK accidentally cost the Renegades the belts in that triple threat match.
So we both cost it.
So now Mick the Brick and him are really butting the fucking heads. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to do another Team KBW versus the Renegades. This time, though, AK gets gets Cage, gets Mistro. Everybody say, listen, if the Renegades win this match at Blood, Sweat, and Tears, we all get title matches. If we win this tag team, we all get title matches. So that means AK will get to face the world champion, Beast will get to face the Native American champion, and the Renegades will get a shot at the tag titles. On the other side, the Team KBW, we got the tag team champions of Great Dane and Pitbull. We got Paul Wall, and we got Cage. So 4v4, that is the teams. As we said, Dozer is pissed off. He's got a rematch clause. He comes out and he says, hey, at the next pay-per-view, I want Pac-Man one-on-one. I beat that fool before, I'll beat him again. But then that big time music plays and says, oh, no. I made Paul Wall tap out. I'm the #1 contender. And then Bama Kid comes out and says, whoa.
Wait,
I had this guy beat. Yes. Pac-Man comes out and he says, you know what? Let's do it like this. At all or nothing. Let's do Pac-Man versus the Bulldozer versus Big Time Mike. And then he looks at his best friend. He says, versus the Bama Kid, because you deserve to be in this match. So we got a 4-way.
I like it.
Bulldozer, Big Time, Bama Kid, and Pac-Man. Also on this pay-per-view, we got D-Man versus Jacob Storm versus Hazard. I think I've already done this match before, but we're doing it again. just to get the Native American Championships on the line, right? Man. Maybe throw Maxilla in there too. I don't know. I don't know. The main two I got is the 4-way for all or nothing, the 4-way and the 4v4 match. The whole time though, Cage is talking about being the leader of Team KBW, and Paul Walls be like, no, nobody leads me. I'm a man of my own. He's like, you can't claim to be anything. You claimed that you were going to start number 1 at the Royal Rumble and win it all. But then what happened? Paul Walls sent your ass out of here. Right? So, if anybody is the leader, and I don't even want to be the leader, it would be Paul Wall. But all I'm doing this for is to make sure I am the number 1 contender for the belt coming out of All or Nothing. I want to wrestle whoever wins. Paul Wall, fuck you, Cage. Fuck all of this renegade shit. I'm going to fight this match, but just to prove that I'm going to be the last man standing, that I'm going to make sure I don't get eliminated, that I come out of here on top, okay? Here we go. All of this has been building up, right? The final 4 of this match, right? Great Dane gets eliminated. Pitbull gets eliminated. The Beast gets eliminated. T-Rex gets eliminated. So now it's basically a tag match. Paul Wall and Cage versus a.k.a. and Mick the Brick. Cage goes for a dive. Mick the Brick pulls a.k.a. out of the way. I dive on Paul Wall. Paul Wall gets thrown in, gets the head. Mick the Brick hits the brick wall slam on Paul Wall. 1, 2, 3. Eliminates Paul Wall. Yeah. Right? Paul Wall. So Cage gets up. DDT to Mick the Brick. DDT to AK. As he's about to pin AK, wall breaker. Bang! Paul Wall pissed off that Cage dove on him, hit him with a wall breaker. Paul Wall leaves. These 3 men are down, just like this. Mick the Brick crawls into the cover on Cage. 1, 2, AK pulls him off. No. You don't pin. I pin. Lays on the cover. 1, 2, brass knucks. Knocks AK out. Throws Cage on the cover. 1, 2, 3. Mick the Brick leaves. Says, I don't want to be with this. Cage wins the match for the Renegades. Now it sets up blood, sweat, and tears. We got Mick the Brick versus AK. We got Paul Wall versus Cage. Simple enough. Just like that. Those are the 2 matches going into the biggest pay-per-view of the year. But let's get to the main event. We got Pac-Man versus Big Time versus Dozer versus Bama Kid. Big Time is smart. Big Time goes after the ankle of Bulldozer all match long. Trying to break him down. Trying to beat him up. Trying to do him in. Pac-Man and Bama Kid are working together. Doing all the tag moves. Bang, 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 bang. You know, things are going well. At the end of the match, Bulldozer hits the package pile driver on Pac-Man. Goes for the cover. 1, 2. Big Time pulls him off by the ankle. He's got him in the VTA. He's got him in the BTA. He's got him in the BTA. Lays down with it like Kurt Angle, where he's got nowhere to go. He's got the big man down as he's laying down, shooting star press onto Big Time Mike from Bama Kid. Makes the cover. 1, 2. Pac-Man's back.
Yeah.
Grabs Bama Kid. Tosses him out of the ring. Covers him. Big Time. 1, 2, 3. Pac-Man retains. And once again, camera pans to Bama Kid on the floor. Just looking up at fucking Pac-Man.
What a
Supposed to
heel,
be
man.
my best friend.
What a heel.
Supposed to be, but the whole time Pac-Man is playing it like it's just matches, bro. It's just,
It's just matches.
I was
What a
the,
heel.
I was the Money in the Bank winner. I was the. Would you have not have wanted me to win the belt? And now here we are. It's every man for himself. We cut a promo beforehand saying shaking hands, every man for himself. And now you're mad. And all Bama Kid can think of is Money in the Bank 3 the year before. He gets screwed over at the end. He has the best match of his life against Bulldozer. Gets screwed over at the end. And just had the match won. And yet again, he gets screwed over at the end.
Oh my God.
Poor Bama Kid.
Which sets up the main event of Blood, Sweat, and Tears. Bama Kid versus Pac-Man for the World Heavyweight Championship.
That is crazy.
That is
crazy.
my main
It
event.
makes sense. It makes sense. The
It
way you
does,
said
right?
everything
It
else.
does.
But it's just crazy to
Yes.
think, right?
That's where we're going. That's where we're going, right? So my card. So a couple weeks before Blood, Sweat, and Tears, Paul Wall beats D-Man for the Native American Championship. Now, he comes into Blood, Sweat, and Tears with a title. KAGE, you want this Native American Championship? Come take it from me. Right?
Mhm.
Paul Wall versus KAGE for the Native American title. Mick the Brick wins the Hardcore Championship in the weeks leading up to Blood, Sweat, and Tears. So now we got AK versus Mickey. Mick the Brick for the Hardcore Championship. And Mick the Brick says, I'm the one walking into the top pay-per-view with a championship. Where's your title, AK? Where's your title? Right? We got Great Dane and Pitbull putting their tag titles on the line against. Oh, I didn't set this up. Let me do this. Okay. After All or Nothing, Mick the Brick comes out for a promo. Right? AK and the Beast come out. And they're cutting a promo on his ass, right? And says, hey, you hit me, I'm giving you one opportunity to apologize if you want to be a part of these Renegades, is what AK says. One opportunity. Mick the Brick says, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I didn't do it sooner. Boom. Tries to punch them both. They start jumping him. T-Rex runs out there with a steel chair. AK and Beast leave the ring. T-Rex is in the middle of the ring. Fucking Mick the Brick is getting up. He's looking at them. He's looking at Mick the Brick. He pushes Mick the Brick. He says, why? Why did you do this? Why did you do this to us? Right? Looks back at AK. AK's pissed off. He says, Mick the Brick, get out of the ring. Get out of the ring. Get out of the ring. T-Rex picks up the mic, he says, listen here. Before there was a Renegades, there was the Ferocious Tag Team. And if Mick the Brick is no longer in the Renegades, then T-Rex doesn't know this man anymore. Bam! Chair shot to Mick the Brick. Right? T-Rex says, I'm sticking with the Renegades. And he hits Mick the Brick. So Mick the Brick, full babyface turn.
T-Rex is always my
Which
favorite.
sets up now Great Dane and Pitbull versus T-Rex and the Beast for the tag titles of Blood, Sweat, and Tears. New tag team in the Beast and T-Rex. AK liked his loyalty so much that he bargained for them to get a tag title match at Blood, Sweat, and Tears. Right? So we got one more match that needs to be set up. Big Time Mike comes out to cut a promo and says, man, I was this close to being world heavyweight champion. I was this close. I had the biggest and baddest man in KBW, the man who run through everybody in that world heavyweight title reign. I had him this close to tapping out, and I would have been champ. Bulldozer's music hits. Oh, hell no, you did not. You would have never beat me. You would have never beat me. You couldn't beat me one-on-one to save your life. Big Time Mike says, well, I see a pay-per-view. I don't got an opponent. You don't got an opponent. Let's put that theory to the test. Bulldozer versus Big Time Mike. One-on-one. Blood, sweat, and tears. So the full card of Blood, Sweat, and Tears is Big Time Mike versus Dozer. KAGE versus Paul Wall for the Native American Championship. Mick the Brick versus a.k.a. for the Hardcore Championship. Great Dane and Pitbull versus T-Rex and the Beast. And our main event is Pac-Man versus Bama Kid. The 1 week before the pay-per-view, Bama Kid and Pac-Man have a contract signing. Pac-Man says, I know you don't talk, but I got some stuff to say. I love you. I've always loved you, no matter what. And know it feels like I've been mean to you. I've hurt you. I've done some things to you that I shouldn't have. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry. One, let's prove that me and you are the future of KBW. Let's prove that me and you, no matter who wins, are the two of the best in KBW history. Goes to shake hands. They shake hands. Bama Kid signs the contract, and Pac-Man hits him over the head with the belt. Bang. Full heel turn. Beast of the ever-loving daylights out of him. Rips the mask. Bleeding. Signs the contract. And Bama Kid's blood.
Jesus.
Let's live the pay-per-view name up right. Dang. It's Blood, Sweat, Tears. Heel Pac-Man versus Babyface Bama Kid. For the... I got coming out of that pay-per-view, I got Big Time making Bulldozer tap out for the first time in KBW history.
The run was worth it.
Yeah,
the run was worth it. I'll tap.
I got KAGE beating Paul Wall for the Native American Championship. He hasn't won a title all year. He finally gets the belt at Blood, Sweat, and Tears. Mick the Brick defeats a.k.a.
I didn't want to match all year.
Blood, Sweat, and Tears.
Yeah, you did.
You did. You beat Paul Wall in the #1 contenders match. Remember when you fought Dozer at Royal Rumble?
Oh, yeah.
Mick the Brick screwed you though.
He's getting your ass back in these bookings, boy.
Great day. Well, I want to end the Renegades after this, and I feel like this is the perfect way to do it. You got to turn a.k.a. back babyface almost, in a sense, right? Great Dane and Pitbull beat T-Rex and the Beast. And Bama Kid ends the pay-per-view by winning the world heavyweight champion.
All comes full circle.
A year-long build-up for Bama Kid to win the belt at Blood, Sweat, and Tears. What did you guys think of the booking of my year, bro? Crazy, huh?
I love the damn Bulldozer run. He went on a damn triple
right?
Yeah,
03
right?
Triple H run, just running through everybody.
He only won 4 matches, bro. He only won 4 matches. He
won really
good.
good.
They were really big wins, though.
Yes, yeah.
Big wins.
He made KAGE say I quit. He beat Jacob Storm. He beat the Beast. And he beat Bama Kid. And then right after he beats Bama Kid, Pac-Man cashes in.
And I win the 4-way, right?
Oh, no, he beat a.k.a. He beat a.k.a. too. Yes, he beat a.k.a. Yes. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of wins. He does get a lot of wins. I apologize.
I really liked your booking. I love how detailed. I don't think mine will be that detailed as yours was.
Mine either.
I think you booked it, like you said, you didn't book it, whereas I did. I don't know if AK did or not. I booked it as in Blood, Sweat, and Tears was going to be our finale, whereas I don't think you did. And I thought
KBW keeps going.
Right. But I think I'm really glad and surprised you gave Bama Kid his glory. And then I'm also surprised that even though I love it, because you made a minor title seem major with you and Paul Wall, I'm surprised you put yourself in like the Native American title picture.
Yeah, I think there's only so many times you could do a.k.a. Bulldozer and KAGE in the main event scene.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And since we had all these new emerging talents, I want to showcase them. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, well, what's the way to do that? Well, me and Paul Wall had a match, but it ended in a no DQ. So we really hadn't had a one-on-one match. So let's build up to that at the end of the year. Having him eliminate me early on in Royal Rumble, nobody expects that huge shocker, And so that sets up that future down the line. We have the team versus KBW. I like Mick the Brick turning. I just love that story of him emerging as a
great.
main eventer out of
so
this.
great for Mick
It's a
the
hell
Brick,
of a turn,
yeah.
too.
Oh yeah.
It's a hell of a turn.
Right in the match, hits him with the knucks, bro. I was like, I love the idea of the toss and like missing them, and then Bulldozer is the one. That's the reason he beats AK. It's like, I also just love that AK can keep trying to cut promos of like being paranoid that Mick the Brick trying to fuck him, but also just being like, I'm the leader of the Renegades. You gotta listen to me. There's just so much promo gold. I feel like is there. I do have, like I said, I was like, do I pay off Big Time like emerging as the main eventer? Well, I'm like, well, let's do that at the end of the year, right? So he still does get a world title match in the 4-way of like Pac-Man versus Bam Kid versus Dozer versus Big Time. But I loved a few weeks back, when we first had Big Time on here, where he's like, man, I would love to wrestle in a feud with the Dozer.
Yeah.
Well, that's my blood, sweat, and tears feud.
I think that's
Dozer
almost
versus
not to say it's
Big
better
Time.
than me winning the title at the finale, but beating Dozer, who at that point is a ginormous star with the year he had. I think it sits like this guy's. He's a main eventer now. Now he has a chance. He can do real damage in the main event.
And I didn't say that, but I also kind of did want to say that of just like coming out of the Royal Rumble, and coming out of the match with Paul Wall I almost wanted to slowly turn you babyface. Not there yet, but like slowly turn you babyface.
Absolutely.
So by the time we get to Blood, Sweat, and Tears, you're babyface against heel Bulldozer.
That's right.
Does that make sense?
That's absolutely right.
So I don't think maybe everybody would agree with their specific spots during all this, but I at least try to make the booking make sense with everything. Does that make sense?
Oh,
yeah. Absolutely.
And like giving us major matches at Blood, Sweat, and Tears. We got Dozer versus Big Time. We got AK versus Mick the Brick. We got KAGE versus Paul Wall. And we got Pac-Man versus Bamba Kid. That's fucking a huge... if they have great matches, that's a huge card. Right? That's a great card.
I love it. And I love... I'm not just saying this because of my title run. I'm saying it because I love the matches you had me in all the way to the Big Time Mike match. Because like you said, I would have loved to have a rival with Big Time. And so I love... throughout the whole run, what you do with me as a Dozer, I think it's fantastic.
Well, I think, like I said, you were just coming into your own as well, and I'm just like, man, him having like a major run with the belt and just running through fools and just being like our, crazy, like over the top guy, I felt like that would have been huge. And I liked, I love building to Bama Kid winning Royal Rumble and you and Bama Kid having that third match, bro. I just love that idea of like, can Bama, like, I love that story. If can Bama Kid do it, can Bama Kid do it, and he doesn't do it, and then Pac-Man cashes in. And it's like, how do fans feel? Are they happy for Pac-Man finally winning the belt? Are they mad that he did it in Bama Kids? Like, there's just that tension that it's all there. Sets up, fucking Big Time was the number one contender. Now we got a cool 4-way that we've never done before between Bama Kid, Big Time, Dozer, and Pac-Man. That match would slap too, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, how can we get these new young kids to emerge as stars? We got Bama Kid and Pac-Man being main eventers. We got Mick the Brick's turn, becoming a main eventer. Big Time Mike's rise as a main eventer. Just rewarding the people that have put in the work and grew. And so I like, the people that put in the work and grew, Big Time, Dozer, Pac-Man, Bama Kid. That's the 4 that I'm like, emerge, and Mick the Brick in a way. And there's some fun storylines. Like, I think T-Rex trying to decide between motherfuckers and hitting.
Absolutely.
All the Renegade stuff I love.
I like that.
All the Renegade stuff I love.
Like, I get to mine later, but I really like.
Go ahead. Talk to me about yours. You might as well run yours now. We're done with mine.
Okay.
Hey guys, hope you enjoyed part 1 of What If? What would have happened if KBW would have kept going? We recorded an hour and 55 minutes of this podcast, and so I'm splitting it up into 2 parts. So you get 2 weeks worth of fun content, 2 podcasts out of it. Because also I'll be going to Europe for 3 weeks. By the time you're watching this, I'll probably be headed to Europe. So I want to thank all the members for watching, and make sure you're a member so you can watch Royal Rumble 3 and a bunch of other matches that have never been seen before, as well as getting the What If podcast earlier than everybody else. Definitely check it out. I'll be in Europe for the next 3 weeks, so besides the next week's podcast, it'll just be reacts until I get back, and then we will resume the podcast. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure you check out part 2 when it drops, and we'll see you next time on the KBW podcast.